Hey everyone, we're going to start the final lecture workshop thing of the night, and we're going to do it in here because we didn't want to move all the chairs out of the way. So welcome, and then I'll let Seth.
Hi. So we're the Office of Neighborship, and my name is Seth.
And my name's Eric.
And we're going to do a basics course, introductory housing self-defense. And this is a very hands-on class. So we're gonna if you don't want to participate or can't participate, that's totally fine. You can kind of observe from the sidelines. But the folks that are going to be taking this class in a hands-on way, we're going to be using this floor space. So just be aware that this floor space is. People are going to be moving around in it and maybe making some moves. So just for safety.
And so please put down your bags and please join. It's not like super asking too much. So
yes. And just to say, so with this class, we're not going to try and equip you with everything that you need for housing self-defense, but we are going to introduce you to some basics and a methodology that will serve you well as we go forward. Learning more about your rights and how to stay in stable housing in Portland.
So, to start, what we're going to ask you is to go and grab a board from over there. And as you grab a board, also grab a marker and share with people, and we can hand this stuff out. And we would like everyone to take a moment to think about what feels precarious in housing in Portland right now. And so it could be your own personal thing, it could be about your family members or whatever, and just write that precarity. You don't have to share it with anyone. Something that feels like precarious or precarity around housing and your own position in Portland right now. Yes. Oh, that's fine. So we're just taking a moment to think about what feels precarious or what the tension we feel around housing in Portland at the moment.
You should be drawing directly on the board. Yes.
Yeah, just write directly on the board.
And when you're done with your pen, you might want to pass it on to someone who can help.
Yeah. And we're not sharing it or anything, so.
Anyone else need a board? You. Can you repeat the instructions?
Yeah, so we're just taking a moment to think about housing in our position in housing, or just like housing in Portland, and just it could be about us or someone, just the state of it, and just writing something that feels impossible or feels overwhelming or feels like feels precarious about housing people we know, people we don't know, the state of affairs. We don't need to spend tons of time writing it.
Okay. Wrap that up. When you're done writing your thing, you can just tuck it away somewhere out of the center of the room.
Remember where you put it?
Yeah, just keep it for just yours, so hold on to it. Share it or not. Okay, so let everyone finish. Carol, we're going to let everyone finish. Okay. So the first thing that the very basic piece of this housing self-defense is your stance. Okay, so if you have a good stance, that means that you're going to be stable, you're going to be hard to push around, you're going to be in a good sort of basic stance to be able to take your next action. So here's the basic stance. You're going to have one foot in front of the other. You're going to this is your book of tenants' rights. It doesn't actually, it may be this thick, but there are much more concise versions of this that we can find. But this, knowing your tenants' rights is actually a huge piece of having a stable foundation for the moves you need to make. So we're going to put our rights under our right foot as we get to know what they are. The second piece that's going to give you a lot of stability is keeping records. So if you have an email exchange with your landlord, keep a copy. If you get a letter or send a letter from your landlord, send a proof of mailing, keep a copy. And if you have a if you have a spoken communication with your landlord, you might want to write that. You do want to write that down with the date and time and what it was, just so that you know exactly what's going to happen with your landlord.
So everyone can just kind of imagine their right foot on their rights and their left foot on their record keeping. And we also want to make sure that we have like a little bounce in our knees so that we're not feeling too stiff, so we're being caught off guard and knocked over by dunce. And then we're going to go around and make sure everyone's, I guess it's a circle, so I can see. But I don't know, how stable do you feel? Do you feel, you don't seem like you're going to fall over. Carol's a little stiff.
We can use some floss.
Everyone else looks good. Just ask good. All right.
Okay, great.
So, next up, everyone seems prepared. But what we're going to do is we're going to pair up with someone. So, just pair up with someone next to you, sounds perfect. And what we're going to talk about is one kind of real simple, classic landlord-tenant issue. So, we have...
Folks that are back here, you might want to sort of spread out and face us so that you can see the moves that we're doing.
Yeah.
So if you're in this part of the circle, maybe like...
Yeah.
We're in the middle, and we'll kind of spread out the room and face this way.
Okay, so we can imagine a scenario where we have some mold in our house, or we have a leaky roof, or we have some other thing and they're not willing to fix it. So what we do is, the important moves to it is we get in our stance, we make sure that our right foot's on our rights and our left foot's on our keeping records, and then we write them a letter. And so when we write them a letter, we do a swipe. So write them a letter and we tell them that, hey, we need you to fix this. And then we do a chop to say we send it with proof of mailing. So that's really important. So we write a letter to them, and then we send it with proof of mailing. So next step is that if they don't respond, we're going to call a repair person on the phone, and we're going to elbow them. And then we're going to spin and do an elbow as we deduct that from our rent check and stick it back in our pockets. So this is how it goes a little faster. We're going to write and chop, then chop to send it, and then call them on the phone and elbow them, and then we're going to elbow them again. So it's kind of a chop, chop, elbow, elbow, as we deduct the rent and make sure our place is repaired. So now Zeph can do real quick. What do you got?
Okay. I need to get my stuff prepared. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to write that letter. I'm going to send it with proof of mailing. I'm going to call the repair person, and then I'm going to deduct it from the rent. Okay?
All right. So now you guys get to practice, because it's not just like, it's more. So remember, so now, do you want to do one, Ross? Yeah. Okay, I think you got it. Do you guys have it? Who's the landlord? Who's the tenant?
It's like more just go with it. I'll just like, I'll be in support of you. And deduct it from the rent. And I'm supposed to roll around. I guess I'll try to write some like documentation, and then I write it.
See some sloppy stances out there. Don't forget. Right foot on your right, left foot on the record.
I write it, and then I chop.
Okay, I think everyone's maybe had it worked out.
Proof, and then I write it. Or I call somebody and get it fixed.
Okay, we have a couple to go through, so next up.
Okay. The next scenario, the impromptu inspection. Okay, so this is the one when your landlord shows up at the door and you're like, knock, knock, I need to check the sink. You're like, I didn't know you were coming. And maybe 6 months ago you couldn't afford the rent, and so your friend moved into the den. And maybe you have a cat that you didn't actually tell your landlord about. So what are you going to do about that situation? Okay, well, we're going to show you some moves.
All right.
Okay, so
Knock, knock, knock.
I'm on my stance. Okay?
Getting in your personal space.
Okay, so I'm going to go up through the middle. I'm going to hold on to my landlord's wrist, and I'm going to say, I need 24 hours notice. And then, and then 24 hours. Then over those 24 hours, I'm going to go make things disappear, make other things appear, straighten things, ask my landlord to go to the bar, etc. Make it all right, and then I'm ready for you. Okay, I'm going to put it up through the middle again. I'm going to grab the wrist, then I'm going to take this hand, we're going to give him a little spin, and then we're going to shake hands, because everything's okay.
So we'll go through that again.
Yeah.
So Zeph, you're the landlord.
Yes.
You come in and you knock.
Okay. Knock, knock. Hi, I'm here to fix the sink.
Wait a minute. I need 24 hours notice, but thanks. See you tomorrow. And then, hide the bed. Hide the cat. Give it to your friend. All right, I'm ready.
Okay. Knock, knock, knock.
Hello. Hi, welcome. Get out of my personal space. Wait, spin, handshake. So good. So we'll do the moves. It's kind of fun. It's like Zeph said it was like the avoiding the hippie hug.
Yes.
Is the move. So you go in for the hug, and then you break, and then you turn and grab their hands and push them away. And then again, it's the hug, and then it's like a switch hand, and then a spin, and then a handshake.
Okay. So run that through with your partner and try to do it once or twice.
This almost involves some dancing. Yeah. Okay, so knock, knock, knock. I guess I'll be the. I guess I'm starting. I don't know why I think that is. I am not a landlord. I am not a homeowner. Knock, knock, knock.
Don't forget the scramble.
Don't forget the scramble. The scramble. That's gone. Then I come again. Knock, knock, knock. And then you say, oh, it's good. Oh, and I grab the wrist. Oh, I grab the wrist. And that's how you get to the wrist to sort of and then here's extra money to go to the store. And then you're ready. And you can come back. Yeah. Hours later. Hello. Good job!
All right, everyone. So we have one more important one to show you, and then we'll end. Then we have another final intention to end the session. So the next one is regarding a brand new law that recently came into being. It should be back there. Sorry. It's right here. All right, anyway. So, recently it was passed like brand relocation. So it's a really important thing to know about your rights. So and what that is that when a landlord hits you with a rent increase or a no-cause eviction, so the rent increase has to be more than 10% of your current rent. There's some caveats though.
The caveats are that you have to live within the city limits of Portland. Your landlord can't own more than one rental unit, and you can't live on your landlord's property.
So, but it's an important scenario to know so that we know that we can tell our friends and other people that if they're getting evicted or if they're getting unfair things, the landlord expects to give them a rent relocation assistance. So this is how it goes. It's a little more complicated. Right. So first, the landlord goes and tries to pick your pocket and get more money, and you're like, don't think so. And so you write them a letter saying, actually, you need to, I can't afford to live here anymore and I want to move out, so you need to pay me relocation assistance. And then you also need to do what we always do when we send them a letter, which is kick this time for sending it with registered mail, like with proof of mailing. And then they just kind of ignore you. You have some time, like 45 days. And if they don't get back to you within the 45 days, and then you can say, hey, I'm going to write you another letter saying that you have to, I'm going to take you to court if you don't pay me. And again, you do a kick to send it with proof of mailing. Now, if they don't actually pay you by the time you move out, you take them to court. So you're going to take them to court, bend them over there, and then justice will be served, and you can take their money and stick in your own pocket. So that's how it goes. All right. Ready? Don't forget your
Stance.
which is right foot on your rights and left foot on good record keeping. All right. So I'm going to write a letter in chalk. Oh, first, Zeph's going to try to steal my money. Write a letter in chalk. Then send it. Then Zeph ignores it. And then I'm like, hey, I still need that. Write a letter chalk. Kick to send it. Okay. Oh, still nothing? Okay. Need chalk for justice. Get that cash. All right. Let's do it again. Zeph, you want to do it again?
Okay.
Give me that money.
I'm going to write that letter. Yeah. Proof of mailing.
All right. And I'm not interested. That's whatever. What are you going to do?
I'm going to write that letter and take you to court. Proof of mailing.
Oh.
Hey, you're still ignoring me? Okay, I'm going to take you to court.
All right. Ready? So easy. Tumbles are not necessary.
It's basically a reach, and then it's a swipe.
A swipe right
and a kick,
and a kick.
and then another swipe, and another kick, and then there's a knee and a chop. Okay?
Yeah.
So now it's all your turn. Let's try it.
Which one? I don't know. It has the least amount of moves. This one.
You don't care. So then take it for just
No, I know. I'm
take the court.
You've got this. No, I guess I give you a notice. No, I give you a notice. Yeah.
I'm like, you're gonna try to steal my
Write another letter.
I don't care about that. Then I come back to it and you write me another letter. And then you're going to send a proof of mailing kit. And then I still don't care. And then justice served. Okay. Now you can move out.
I am definitely.
Have you ever had any experience with any of these things? No. I mean, my situation
Yeah, I think that's good.
Dishwasher doesn't work. The washing machine will leave anytime. Maybe you can get some advice from that. Figure out how to address it. Any kind of that you're fixing. My partner wants to
Everyone looks like they haven't figured out.
Oh, really? Well, as far as like new construction,
Okay, so I think everyone seems like they have those moves out. So
and then at least you know this stuff doesn't work.
again, this is just the basic Office of Neighborship, like baby steps, like beginning to landlord-tenant law. So what we're going to do is make sure that you take your board now that you wrote on, and you're going to have your partner hold it for you while we break it. Now, so how this works, and if you don't have a board, you can grab one. How it works is the partner is going to hold. Now, if you don't want to, I can hold it for you too also. And you're going to use an open hand one because we want to be like, hey, stop trying to take advantage of you. Stop trying to take advantage of me. I know my rights. So you just try to get in your stance.
What?
Oh, almost, and then
What?
close. Okay, maybe not. Let's try again. That was that. Okay, try again. All right, let's try one more. Steph, you hold it. Raise the wrist, okay? All right, now if it feels like too much, that's fine. So I'm just going to think, I know my rights. That was harder than you would hit it. Sorry. All right, who needs help? Just hold it. I'll hold it for you. I'll hold it for you.
So like this.
Yeah.
They might have had kind of a dud one.
We said a dud one. Good to go. Just good. Yeah. Just a little more force. Yeah. Karate in the first one. Okay, let's try with your foot.
Definitely no.
We'll do this. We'll do this. You get lots of options.
I am okay.
The board's got a little tiny bit. That's the problem sometimes. But it should be easy. Oh, in the middle. Sorry. That hurts. Don't hurt yourself. That hurts. Sorry. We're talking.
Oh, very good. Oh, that is a little sticky. Yeah. I guess apparently it hurts a little bit. Just like I tried.
Want to try your foot?
And I had no balance.
So, now, really, just like you're going to do. And just go, try to step into it, okay? You got it. Close, in the middle. Okay, we have one more way to do it really easy. Kick back.
You've got your boards, you can come and take a picture. Come on up to the desk and I will sign it.
Yeah, I mean, when I discuss like, especially coming forward,
And now everyone, thanks for coming to the workshop, but we also have special certificates for you to help you know your rights. And so you can go and